What's up, you fools? Matt, ESC United, your favorite Eurovision channel, and we are back for yet another episode of Mattitude, the Eurovision live stream where we talk about, kind of name is spoiling it already, Eurovision, and answer your questions. And a lot has happened, therefore I cannot do this alone. I brought my uh, BFF with me right here. And Roy, as always, if you need advice on who is going to come really basically in the bottom five, look at his favorite list and you should be good to go. How you doing, my friend?
Hey, we have been agreeing on a lot of the songs
Yeah, I
so
know.
far
That
this
makes me,
season.
that's why I'm so
So
concerned. I'm freaking out
yeah.
about that. So- but no, of course, that's what we love, right? Diversity in taste. Otherwise, it would be a boring thing. But
Yeah.
to be fair, when you look at my list from last year, it didn't look good. My top 10, the way it turned
No.
out. So I should not be the one talking
Your
about.
last place.
And then who was in my original top 10? Germany, UK. Oh,
I don't think you are the one to talk with this.
no, I shouldn't. Like, I kind of regretted these words as I was saying them. But seriously, thank you everyone in the chat for joining us. And we have a lot to talk about. How did you survive yesterday's madness, Roy? How did you handle it?
There was a lot going on. I couldn't keep up with everything. I tried to keep up, especially with the ones that got the song selected. So I watched Vitbeer, I watched a bit of Eesti Laul. Lithuania, not as much because I had already heard all of the songs from the semifinals and the heats. And the same kind of with Latvia. I've heard them before, so I didn't focus as much on those. But I know all the results, and it was fun, wasn't it?
Yeah, it is fun. It is just very, very stressful. And you think I've
Yeah.
been doing it now for about 52 years. You think by now I'm used to it, but it's just still, I was like, I can't. So I've gotten a little bit used to the fact that I'm not going to watch all of it live, and then just follow up afterwards on some of them. Because for me, it's more difficult in that sense that I always have to be up early, but at the same time, I don't have to, I still have all day to finish it up. When everybody else in Europe goes to bed. So, but anyways, I digress here. We want to talk about a little bit about what has happened. We're going to focus on the main stories, meaning the resolve. We have 4 new songs yesterday on those first, then dive into all some of the other stuff, and of course, your questions. That's always very important. Can't do it without y'all. So stay tuned for that. At ESC United, of course, always in the chat. But let's just talk about one of the first results we've gotten. I think it was the first result of the night. I could be wrong, though. It was basically Ukraine, and it was following a 4-hour-long Eurovision selection, right? It was 4 hours long, like
Yeah,
San
nearly.
Marino. Nearly, yeah. So San Marino is kind of getting competition there. But Ukraine has finally decided on their next representative, and it is Alina Pash. With the song Shadows of Forgotten Ancestors. She was also the winner of our readers poll, by the way, in case you didn't know. And I'm not going to go through the entire process, but the show began at like 5:30 local time in the evening, afternoon. Goa, last year's representatives were part of it. And then the show took place in the NIU Center of Culture and Arts in Kiev. And we had a total of 8 songs in the running, and there were some technical difficulties throughout the show in the performances, specifically Cloudless. So they were allowed to perform their entry again. And then the results overall, they were decided by the jury 50% and the televoters another 50%. And then, by the way, there were some famous names or no names to the Eurovision bubble on the panel. Tina Carroll representing Ukraine in 2006. Jamal, I think we all know her from 2016. But also then a board member, Yaroslav Lodihin. And they all gave their highest point to Alina Pash. Wellboy got second highest with 7 points, and the Kalush Orchestra were third with the juries getting 6 points. Then there were more performances. Ultimately, then the televote results came in. Even though they had the same top 3, they had them in the different order. With Kalush Orchestra winning the televote, Alina Pash coming second, and Wellboy coming third, which means once you combine the results, Alina Pash at 15 over Kalush Orchestra 14 points, therefore won the honor to actually represent Ukraine at Eurovision. And I know before everyone in the chat jumps right at us, there are some controversies happening post show, and we'll go into that in just a moment. But I want to give at least us an opportunity to talk about the results and the winner. Roy, your thoughts on Alina Pasha's song? What were your thoughts overall?
Well, firstly about the show, I was in awe. Like this was such high quality. A lot of the performances really delivered in the live version. Kalush Orchestra, I am not sure if I've ever seen a better performance, national final or Eurovision. That was amazing. Like I love it to pieces. But then I thought, okay, this can't be topped. And then Alina Pash came, and she might not have necessarily topped it for me, but damn, she delivered. It was amazing. She was flawless vocally. She delivered the emotion, which is basically what sold me on the entire thing. Like you could just see that the song meant a lot to her, and you just really got sucked in with her performance. And yeah, I think overall it is a very deserved winner. Of course, some controversies, but we'll get into that way later. Overall, I think it is a good song for Ukraine. Like I can pencil mark Ukraine in the top 10 with this
Yeah.
song. I think that is safe to. I mean, not safe. You never know what's going to happen. But I would say that they have a good shot at doing well again this year. It's a good song.
Yeah, I kind of have to agree with, because my personal favorite was also Kalush Orchestra for the similar reasons. I was just in awe of that song, which now again, going back to what we talked about before, maybe it's good they didn't win because we both like it, probably would have flopped. Um, but no, I actually thought it was so innovative and so out of the box that I'm like, wow.
Yeah.
I couldn't get enough of that song, and it still could have potentially be my favorite of the year. But at the same time, I appreciate and can see the value in Alina Pasha's song, because, as you pointed out, she gave it her all. She sang it like she meant it. And I got like, oh, emotional. Like it almost felt like she broke down. Like some of these singers, they know how to deliver it. And Ukraine always knows that. And what I always love about, and this applies to both those two songs, Kalush Orchestra and Alina, they just go with something that's a little bit less like conventional. As they've done in the
Yeah.
past. We had TikTok and all that stuff. But as of late in particular, they have been like putting forward stuff that may not be on the safe side, but over and over they prove you don't have to go with something predictable and radio friendly. Talking to you, Germany, to always do well. So this is basically the point I'm trying to make, and I applaud them for that. And so, yes, it is certainly, to me, those were the two standout songs of the night. Overall, some of the other songs that I actually liked in the beginning were live a little meh. Is there anything else that wasn't running you think deserves some mentioning or credit, or was the
Yeah.
two that really?
I mean, before going into the show, neither Kalush or Alina Paj was my favorite. My favorite was Well Boy, actually. It's just a
Really?
type of dance song that's really on my alley. But yeah, Kalush and Alina just really sold it live, and they overtook that song. But I definitely want to give it like a mention because I did love the song and I still listen to it. Like it's an amazing song. Yeah, it was
Yeah.
just a good show. Like Ukraine, like you said, they don't really have Eurovision in mind when selecting these songs. I feel like they just
Mhm.
want to have some quality artists and songs just performing, and it just shows they always come up with something really
Mm.
unique, and it's just amazing to watch Vitbeer and to watch Ukraine at Eurovision. They're doing really
Yeah.
well.
And yeah, and they do obviously have Eurovision in mind because they have the Eurovision hearts and talk about all the time, but they don't overthink it. Do you know what I
Exactly.
mean? Like, this is what people will like in Europe. This is what fits in the radio. This is whether they're like, no, they're just saying something. This represents us, and we feel good about it. And it doesn't always have to be a safe song. Not a safe. Excuse me. A traditional local sound song. Sometimes there's some pop songs as well, but it's still, they don't overthink it. And that is what I find insanely appealing. And a lot of countries could learn from that. And that goes similar to like the Italy route. Yeah, those two countries and some others as well. They just don't overthink it, and I think that is what makes this a very, very appealing national final. Cut it down, but I guess that's just I think people look forward to countries in certain countries for long shows like this. It's just they enjoy it. Just for like us outsiders, it feels like, oh my god, this is so long. Make it stop. But it is still, was a great show and high quality, and the stage looked great. Everything looked fantastic. Thank you, by the way, Matthew Faustini, for your super chat. Gotta give you a shout out. You say love both Matt, Roy, and all the others. Thank you so much. Truly appreciate the hard work and skill you put into giving us this amazing content. Thank you so much for the kind words and your support. Very much appreciated. So, but yeah, so this was an enjoyable show, and unfortunately, there always has to be some drama, and it seems in Ukraine, when it comes to national finance, seems to be more of a recurring theme, and it happened again this year, shortly after, of course, Alina was crowned the winner. The runner-ups, Kalush Orchestra, who won the televote, were very, 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 very upset with the results, and they made it known. They were very vocal about it, and then of course the fans of the band came kind of along to the defense, but they took it to the next level and actually then insulted Alina and then the jurors, and now they're trying to get her disqualified. Now they're even talking about that she should be disqualified because there's some kind of evidence out there that she entered Crimea from the Russia border, therefore it's against Ukrainian law, and there's just like a lot of stuff going on that they're trying to get her eliminated. And am I missing anything else, Roy? Those were some of the highlights, right?
Yeah, they basically wanted to have some clarity in how the televote went down, and they asked for it politely first, but then they just weren't given any answer, and they were just kind of shown the door, and they didn't get an answer, and it was a bit of a shady way how they announced the points of the televote. Like the presenter kind of stumbled upon his words a couple of times. So yeah, they just asked questions. We want clarity. How were the votes? How were the scores? And they couldn't give that. Usually, Ukraine publishes those at a later stage. So I hope that happens. So all of this got cleared up a little bit. But yeah, it's a lot of drama again, which really kind of dampens the mood a bit, because it is an amazing song, and you don't just want like this kind of mood that overhangs Alina's win. Like she won at the end of the day. I mean, we don't know, of course, if it was fair or not, but let's assume it is. It just sucks that all of this stuff happens, but yeah, unfortunately, we just cannot really avoid it anymore. It happens so often.
Yeah, I mean, I'm curious to find out exactly what Kalush's orchestra's thinking was in terms of why going after the televote, because they won the televote. The only thing I can think of that they are implying that Alina did not finish in second place.
Yeah,
with the
I think that
televoters.
is. I think that is what they're implying. I mean, I could see it happen since Wellboy, Jesus, sorry, Wellboy is maybe a bit more of a televote friendly song compared to Alina. But I mean, it's really just a stretch, and I get that they're upset because they only lost by 1 point, and I get their suspicions. But yeah, we just really need to wait, and if they can give clarity, then that's all we need, really. And I think that is also what they need. I hope they come back though, because this song was amazing.
Honestly, at this point, I don't think what the broadcaster put forward, it will be scrutinized, because then, and that's coming from someone who lives in the US, and we've heard all of this before here in the political environment. It's all just made up. It's fake, right? They just made up these numbers to make themselves look good. So I think the damage is done. And some people in the chat pointed out that, it didn't help, as you said as well, that the moderators, they kind of tripped over, not their words, but what they were trying to say. They were giving wrong information as well, so it's not completely their fault. It was just not well executed. So I understand some of the concerns. I am absolutely not pushing that aside, because it would be unfair. That's why transparency is always so important, and people just, I guess, don't trust neither the results by the broadcaster or the juries. And it's not the only country. I mean, it's, I wouldn't say uniquely, but think of I'm always thinking of like when we still had national finals in the UK a few years ago. They never revealed the results, right? They always just give us the results, outcome, like who won kind of thing, but not like the exact breakout. And people just take it at face value, right? Apparently, there's more trust towards like a network or broadcaster that is like BBC or even in Germany or they're just used to it than there is in certain countries. And I don't live in Ukraine or other countries, so I don't have that kind of exposure. So I think people are maybe rightfully suspicious. We'll never know. I mean, yes, they may reveal the results, but I don't think we will ever know for sure. And that is always unfortunate because they say the same thing about Moldova. The voting is always skewed the numbers in some other countries, but it is unfortunate. But yeah, I just find it also just very like it becomes really just a slingfest. Like, yes, criticize the national final, the way the setup was in terms of voting, but going after the artists like Alina now, drawing her through the mud, that is where I'm just like, this is not cool.
Yeah, I always hate it when it gets personal. Like there's no need to attack the singer. Like she just performed her song, and if there like went something wrong on the side of the broadcaster, or if there's something that seems shady, it's not really something that she can help or that she can help fix or do anything about. Like there's no need to attack her personally, in my opinion.
Yeah, and unfortunately, the outrage machine is coming for her as well. Green Oscar is saying they also want her to be disqualified for photos she posted on Instagram
Yeah.
years ago of her and a friend doing yellowface. They are digging up everything to get her disqualified. People need to be very careful with that because as soon as you do that kind of stuff on the person that you want eliminated, then the person that you are actually trying to get in, they'll find probably something out there as well. It's easy to find stuff that were unacceptable now in today's concept and sensitivity did not apply maybe to what happened years ago. I don't know all the ins and outs, but I just don't like people doing that unless it's something really like, so outrageous you
If
cannot
it's
look
really
past it.
bad.
Yeah. Because especially in Europe, there were all these shows years ago. I don't know the name of the show, but it was I'm like I look like you, and they're singing, and then some of them put on like darker color to have like people call it blackface almost, right? It's darker skin color, and that is in today's sensitivities completely uncalled for. But years ago, it was not because American sensitivities and cultural appropriation may not apply in Europe as much. They're different sensitivities. So I'm always very careful not jumping on a bandwagon there.
Yeah, especially with old stuff. Like it also doesn't say about how they are as a person at the moment. Like if I look back at how I was like 4 years ago or 6 years ago, I was totally different from what I am now. So I don't know. I never really like it when stuff like that gets dug up. But yeah.
Yeah, like you cannot get better. Like you should always be held to the standards of the person you were a few years ago. Even like let's just say, I don't know, I was a terrible person 5 years ago. I say gays suck and women should be in the kitchen, da da da. And I'm like, you know what? I was wrong. I don't know why I said that. I'm terrible. I will be a better person going forward. But then people would never allow me to move past that every time something comes up. Like, well, 5 years you said this. I'm like, I'm no longer that person. So again, there is context there. So I don't know all the ins and outs. I don't want to say that it's cut and dry like that, but I'm always very wary of that kind of personal, going into people's business and trying to get them disqualified for stuff that, is irrelevant almost. MGV 12100 says Kalush behaved very rude since the very beginning. I mean, they have a right to ask for detailed results, but the way they did it was very off-putting, and I voted for them. I think that it seems a lot of the consensus amongst the fans, right? That they just don't like how the band is handling it, at least in the aftermath of it, right? Not just like initially asking for it, but then as it kind of spiraled out of control.
Yeah. Yeah, there were some things that like from both sides I think weren't really how you should handle these kind of things. Like they definitely went a bit too far. But like stories I read how they saw it that like people were running away from the broadcaster to not give them an answer is also another way to go. And in that moment it's just a lot of emotion sparking up and like sometimes with emotion you just don't really know how to function anymore and it just kind of results in unfortunate situations. And yeah, there were definitely mistakes made on both sides, perhaps. But Yeah, it is what it is. We will have to wait for any clarity and any news or any statement from the broadcaster or college orchestra, and then hopefully we can move past it, because
Yeah.
I hate staying stuck in the past. Like, let's leave it behind and then move on eventually.
Learn from it, fix it,
Definitely,
because I think
100%.
the broadcaster has a very great learning opportunity here when it comes to transparency and fixing stuff. Because I understand, again, perception can be reality for a lot of people. And having the scoreboard mess up, at the most inopportune time for, one party involved,
Yeah.
and all of that stuff. So I get it. I get it. I just, learn from it, because you cannot go back. And I know this will all taper off a little bit, but it's always unfortunate because it kind of takes the fun moment, kind of what happened with Spain, how for the winner eventually it was almost like, ugh, this is a big buzzkill. So I'm worried the same thing is happening for Alina. And that coming from a person who actually was more in favor of the second placer. But, that is where we're at. But in terms of, like you mentioned, you think, I mean, we still got 28 songs to go, I think. You think this has a potential to be a top 10
Yeah.
candidate?
It's just delivered very well. Like, her vocals were spot on, and I know that, like, the little talk part or the rap part nearly in the middle of the song is very hit or miss for a lot of people. It wasn't my cup of tea either, not gonna lie, but the way she ended it with, like, the open hand and then closing it, and it was very emotional, and I think it will resonate with a lot of people. It is very cultural, so maybe not everybody will vote for it, but yeah, it is amazing ballad, and if you can deliver these vocals and the staging maybe gets a tad of an upgrade as well, it
Hmm.
can really do well, in my opinion.
Yeah, I can see that happening as well. I wouldn't go as far as saying it's a winner, but
No,
I certainly think that
too soon for
it
that.
has. Yeah. And I feel like, it's the imagery of the song is really makes it, because I really get, the monologue talking part kind of throws me and it takes me out
Yeah,
of it. So I personally don't care for it. At the same time, I understand that some people do get it, but I'm just thinking of the casual viewer who may not think through it too much. It may be more off-putting, but if that's what won, and that's what that would put forward, you know, that's I think it should just stay that way. The broadcaster should publish the exact amount of percentage of votes. Yeah, at least a percentage or just the exact votes. It's not difficult. They have it. It's not like they're
exactly.
just going to see like a they're sitting there like making like notes. No, it is going to be a computer system. Yes, you can always manipulate and all of that stuff. So I don't know exactly, but there's not much we can do about that. The EBU cannot get involved in national selection.
No.
Even if they were like, you know what, we want it. They can do whatever they can. Just decide the last place is going to go now. The
Yeah.
broadcaster can do whatever they want. So it doesn't matter. It sucks, but yeah, it doesn't matter in that sense. But oh wow. But yeah, so Ukraine was, of course, always has been a very powerful player at Eurovision, and I don't think this year will be the year where they're going to fall behind, because very very popular, and rightfully so in my view. So, but it wasn't the only show that happened yesterday. We had a few more. One of them
Mhm.
was Lithuania, and basically last year, you remember, we had the Rube with Discotheque, ended up in 8th place, second best result ever for Lithuania at the contest. And we had another edition of the show, and in the grand final, the viewers, alongside of course the juries, the national juries, had a chance to vote for one of the 8 acts. And as pointed out, not previously, we had 2 semifinals, and before that I think 3 heats. So they went through a lot of scrutiny. It was a very interesting experience. If you're into national finals, this is certainly one of them you want to check out. But ultimately, we had a winner. We had some familiar names in the running, but ultimately, the winner, and therefore going to Eurovision, is Monica. And this lady, she won with the title Sentimentai, and she will go to Turin for Lithuania. She won the televote and the jury vote. So there is probably not going to be any controversy about this song, unlike in Ukraine. And now it just comes down to, will people like it or not? But that only time will tell. For now, we can talk about it, whether or not we like it, or were there other choices that Lithuania should have gone for. And of course, I want to hear from everyone in the chat as well. But first, Roy, take it away. Your thoughts of the.
Yeah, I mean, first, like, let's go back to the clarity bit a little bit. Like, Lithuania literally is the one that gives the most clarity out of anyone. Like, literally every heat, you know the exact amount of televote points that everybody got. You know the exact breakdown of the juries. You can't have more clarity than with Lithuania. Like, that's why I love it so much. You can really dig into the numbers, and I'm a bit of a math nerd sometimes, so I like doing that. So I basically kind of had the hunch that Monica Liu would probably win because she was like smashing the heat, smashing the semifinal, and yeah, I really digged her song as well. Like, I heard it for the first time, and I was like, yeah, this is 100% what they should go for, because it's kind of a throwback, but very delicately done. She has the charisma, she has the stage presence. I think the song is very nice to listen to. I know that it probably won't be for everyone. It can be a bit hit or miss for a lot of people. But I love it. Like, it is on my playlist, and that says a lot because I just really enjoy listening to it. And I don't always add Eurovision songs just to my playlist, so it's a fun song, and I'm really happy that she won. It was definitely the best option in my opinion.
Yes, I only listened to the 8 finalists, so I didn't get to experience some of the other songs that have been eliminated in the previous shows.
Yeah.
But out of the 8 that were listening, I did my reaction video, and Monica was definitely my number one as well. Which, on paper, I was like, "Well, this could be really boring, right?" So, but there's something about her persona, her charisma on stage. She just really shines, and it just was enjoyable watching her. And I'm completely digging her retro. She looks like she just came from a time machine in the 70s. She looks like Mireille Mathieu, like with the haircut and the dress. She's like from the 70s in France somewhere. I just love it. And but she has just a way to demand the stage. And the song itself, though, is quite. I really, really like it. And it's the kind of song that I'm like, it should be boring, right? But yet there is something magical about it, and I just can't get enough of it. It doesn't have any like big exciting moments. It's just really all about personality and melody, and it just works. Sometimes I cannot even really put my finger on it what it is, but it is just a really good song, and I just have a really good feeling about it. I was actually surprised that, I mean, I figured that she was going to win the jury vote, and she did win the televote, but it was pretty close actually, because the song "Not Your Mother" by Lolita Zero was just short of right behind it. And Roy, I see your laughter. Tell me, talk about it.
Oh, what a song!
What is?
Oh
I want to
yeah,
watch it. I haven't watched your reaction video yet, so I got to do that. But I would love to see your facial expression when that one came up.
yeah. I mean, we know Lolita Zero from before. Like, he participated in 2017 or 2016 in the national final with like the weird watermelon smashing song, and I like didn't care for that at all. I was like, this is just too weird. This time around, he came with an amazing trance song, and it's like it was so captivating, and like the way they like the performance was so cool because he was just standing there and like the dancers were moving around it, and just no words really. Like, so much was happening, and yet the song is kind of very minimalistic. But it just stuck in your head, and I just listened to it as well a lot actually. Yeah, definitely get why I did well in the televote, but I would have definitely preferred Monica Liu in the end. So I'm happy that it didn't win, but it was definitely a great song, and I really enjoy it.
Yeah, Monica's probably the best choice for success at Eurovision, and I probably like
Yeah,
the song better. But I think you nailed it when you said it was just captivating. Because again, I think like
yeah,
I probably would hate the song. I thought, right, but there was something mesmerizing, just like, what is this? And I know the juries, if this would have won in the end, I think the juries would have completely killed that one. But I was just absolutely fascinated by it. But the beat was sick. It was rough on the edges, a lot of things there but
yeah.
they, with a budget and more time to fix it, they would have done something amazing. And yes, it would be a whole lot more polarizing. Polarizing isn't always the worst thing at Eurovision, as long as you have supporters. So yes, no, I thought it was a very interesting choice, and it's probably for the better that it didn't win. but I think the show was just a better show because they were in it, if that
Yeah.
makes any sense. So that I completely agree. So I think they finished in second place overall anyway, right? Are there
Yeah.
any other songs that you think stood out to you, or those were the clear, like the ones that should have? Is there any
I
other
think
honorable mention
I
somewhere?
think Gebrasi and Ruta Loop just showed that they have talent again, but they really need to like go back to the drawing board and like write an even better piece. Like I feel like they have definitely got it in them to one day like represent Lithuania. I
Hmm.
thought Before You're 6 Feet Under was quite a good song. Like I enjoyed that one quite a bit, and I'm very pleased that she did quite well. I think that were mostly the highlights. And somebody in the chat mentioned as well that this is the first time in 24 years that Lithuania will send something in Lithuanian, and that is insanely exciting for me.
Really? I
Yeah,
know
it was
well,
that long.
1999 we had, right, something in Lithuanian,
No, it
and
was 98 actually. I think
no, didn't we have something in 99? I remember
one of the
99.
2 years.
Didn't she open that? Well, it's 23
Yeah, yeah.
years,
She
right?
opened
Yeah.
the show. She opened the
Yeah,
show.
she opened the show because that was one of the first Eurovisions I saw. I was super young,
Yeah.
but I do remember it.
I mean, I
And
wasn't born. Oh well, I
in
was born
99,
in
you were
98.
born. You just weren't old enough to really remember anything.
Yeah.
So I do remember it, and
That was the song exactly. Somebody said it in the chat.
yeah, that was the last one. Wow. I'm
Yeah.
like, no, you're lying. No, I'm going through my head, but I'm like, oh no, in 2002, no, that was Slovenia, and then I'm like, what? No, that was English. You're right. I guess it was the last one.
Yeah.
That is crazy. I never even realized that. Not thinking about it. Um, so that is interesting. So, um, and I think they'll do a whole lot better than they did in 1999 because they flopped big time
Yeah.
that year.
I mean, I love the song, but they didn't do well in the competition, unfortunately.
Yeah. So both of us clearly, Roy and I agree, this was the right choice, and Lithuania is probably going to do quite well. Lithuania always, and I'm not saying that to pick on them, but it's reality. They do have a little bit of a head start often because of the diaspora voting. But it's not their fault, right? But I think they can just say right now, this is a good song on its own merit. So when they do well, and I know they will, it's because of the song quality, and I'm happy about that. Any other questions, by the way, in the chat at ESC United? Make sure you post them so we can see them. You mentioned that already. 1994 was the last time they got points, actually. Oh, got points with a
Yeah.
Lithuanian song. So then we're like approaching 30 years, almost 28 years now.
Wasn't that like their
Cheapers.
debut nearly? Like that's like one of the
I think that
years.
was their debut in 1994, right? Because that's when like 5 million countries joined that weird system, where then all these other songs are relegated, etc.
Yeah.
um
Oh, that was such an odd system.
I know. Well, actually, the last next 3 years were similar because 1996 was the big dramatic one because Germany, that's
Yeah.
the only time
Exactly.
Germany missed the show.
Yeah.
you know
The past year, I really have like watched all old Eurovisions. Like, I thought
I
it was
know.
really missing from me. Like,
Yeah.
I was always here like the young kid on the block at the EC United, and you were always in the chat like, "Ah, do you like this 1988 song?" And I was like, "Yeah, no idea what it
Yeah,
is."
sure.
Now I've listened to them all at least.
Well, I know all the way to the beginning tonight. Like, no, I've noticed you have
Me too.
such a more broad knowledge of Eurovision. I'm very proud of you.
It was fun. Like, it is so cool. I've discovered so many hidden gems that I would otherwise
Yeah.
not have found. Like, some
I
cool
remember watching it like when I started learning. I mean, I didn't really watch all the history until like 2005 or something like that, right? And then like I didn't know that was a Eurovision song. I had no idea Eras 2 was a Eurovision song.
Yeah.
I didn't know Ein bisschen Freedom Germany was in Eurovision. All these things. I'm like, what? That's the beauty. So I'm sure with a lot of Dutch songs, I mean, with Dutch songs, you may have a little bit more knowledge, but
Yeah.
it still sounds like I did not know that. So
Yeah, like Amsterdam is like also known very much without Eurovision. I think a lot of people wouldn't even know that was in Eurovision.
which, by the way, they should have won in 1980. I'm just saying, sorry, Johnny Logan fans, but that's just my
Totally.
opinion. I'm still bitter. 40 years later, I wasn't really around. I'm just saying. I was emotionally there already. So anyway, so that's Lithuania. So 2 songs down, two to go. And then, of course, by the way, at the very end, we also have an open Q&A session. We can talk about all the other national finals, semis if you want to, and just anything Eurovision related, because there is so much going on. Let's move on to Estonia. Eesti Laul actually had a very slightly different setup this year, because they had usually they have like two semis and a final. Now they had late last year four semifinal,
Four
quarterfinal,
semifinals of 10 songs.
four quarterfinals. It's a quarterfinal, so
yeah,
four, right?
Quarterfinals, yeah.
And a song of 10, and then how 5 moved on? Or
5 moved on, and like 3 of them were determined by televote and 2 by jury vote, or the other way around. Like 3-2 was a split on those.
Yeah, and then it took a couple of months off, and then they did the two semifinals over the past couple of weeks.
Yes.
And then now we had the final, as always, with a lineup of 10 songs. And I guess a big congratulations is in order here. And in case you don't know, I hope we're not spoiling it for you, but the drums are coming in. It is Stefan. Whoa! So here he is, and again, the 10 songs battle it out, and Stefan ultimately came out victorious. He already took part 27 times, I think, at Eesti Laul, and he's only 24, so let that sink in. Now, he has been trying for years now, and again, a 50-50 split of public and jury voting determined the top 3 songs that were moving on to this year's super final, and then the jurors awarded their points first. Apparently, Minimal Wind featuring Elizabeth Tiffany, they came out on top, actually getting 101 points. Stefan came actually only in second place. And then Anna Salin came third with the juries. She actually represented Estonia 20 years ago in 2002. Just run away to the stars. You know that one, Roy?
Yeah.
Good. Good boy. Yeah. So, and at that point, they added the televoters, and we had 3 super finalists, and they were Minimal Wind featuring Elizabeth Tiffany, as said out, Stefan, and then Elisa with Fire squeezed in over Anna Celine. So that was the top 3, and then ultimately only the televoters got to vote, and then ultimately Stefan finally did it. Again, I mean, it's only his 4th attempt, but still, that's quite a bit at his age, right? When you're 24, trying 4 times, that's quite a bit. And he done it in 2018, 19, 20. He set out last year because he was like, okay, Ukusavis is going to get this one. Why would I even bother? So probably a smart choice. And now he has made it with hope. So once again, congratulations. And let's talk about this. Roy, the floor is yours. What are your thoughts?
I'm really happy that Stefan finally gets to go. Like ever since he joined for the first time, I've really been rooting for him. Like it is kind of what I said about the previous selection with Ruta Loop and Gebrasi. Like there's so much potential in an artist sometimes, but it just doesn't get fully realized. So I'm at those points kind of happy that they don't get selected, because they come back with an even better song. And this song finally felt complete. It felt like it was done, and like he could perform it, and he clearly loved the song as well. So I'm really happy that he went. And I just really want to take a moment for Minimal Wind. That song is my favorite national finals season song this year, and probably ever. It is so amazing. You don't
I did not think you would like it.
It is so good. Like I've been having it on repeat, and if you know me, I am not a person who likes to put songs on repeat. Like I get bored of songs very easily, and this song has been on repeat ever since it came out, and I love it to pieces. And I didn't even expect him to go to the final, and they went to the final, and then they won the jury vote. I was like, what is happening? This is amazing. I was living my dream. But I mean, it probably would not have done very well at Eurovision, because I'd probably be the only one voting. So it would be like 12 points from the Netherlands, and then the rest, nothing, perhaps. Yeah, I love that song. But yeah, Stefan definitely deserved it. And like after so many attempts, wonderful that he's going. And yeah, amazing.
Yeah, it is amazing. I'm usually trying to stay away from the sentiment of, oh, it was his turn, because I'm like, it's not your turn if you don't have the best song, that kind of thing. That always do with politicians here in the US. Oh, it's his or her turn. I'm like, that's not how it works. This is not a monarchy. But you cannot be unhappy. You just happy for him, because one thing, I'm not a big fan of his music before. Like his songs were always kind of like fine. You know, something I would expect in a German national final. Picking on you, Germany, a lot, but I'm a lot because I'm German. But so the songs were just okay to me. But I always just he seemed so genuine and happy to do this, and he really wanted to go far, and I'm happy for him. I think I would say this is to me his best effort yet. I of course, you know, as someone listening very like this cowboy Wild West country
Mm.
sound, I'm a little like, how authentic and like, you know, I believe it. But when it's on, I'm just kind of like, it's enjoyable. It just doesn't, yeah, and at least it'll stand out. So it's a song that at least I will say this, it'll stand out. And it is a little bit more of a departure from like any safety pop songs that have like this overly Swedish song production. I'm not sure if they're Swedish songwriters, but at least it doesn't come across in that manner because they wouldn't usually write that kind of music. So I'm very, very happy about that. In terms of the, I was actually initially given, I mean, Elisa was my original favorite, I think. So I did not expect her to go to the final three at all. I thought I was the only one because no one talked about it, and then she's in the top three. I think it just had the most impact on me, even though it's a little bit more of a standard pop song. But I think that was just the lineup. Estilo this year, I wasn't quite as like wowed by it. So last year there were so many songs that I loved, so it was hard. This year, there was a little bit of a gap there, I think. But and one thing was very interesting, if you notice in the results, the televoters did not care if these people were famous or previous to Eurovision because like or like in Estilal, because Elina didn't get that many points, Stig Rasta didn't get many points, Art Lepland didn't get many points. So Estonians, it seems like they vote for really what they like, not the names, huh?
Yeah. Yeah, that's how it should be, I guess. Like, I don't think it makes sense that you should go to Eurovision just because of your name. Like, in my opinion, in any national selection, the best song, or not even necessarily the best song, the best package should go to Eurovision. And if you win solely on your name and don't have the best song, then yeah, I don't think you should go to Eurovision. And I'm not the biggest fan of returning artists to begin with, but
Mm-hmm.
yeah, it was kind of, I wouldn't say cool because that may be a bit disrespectful, but it was kind of refreshing to see that because sometimes a lot of selections have the tendency to give them points anyways, and yeah,
Yeah.
I'm happy that Stefan is going now.
Yep. That's a good question that Min Hin Stevens
I
says.
mean, Hinsti Dance, that's Iceland 1999 or 98.
Oh, yeah.
You even
Sorry.
referenced to that like the other day in a video.
I'm good remembering, but with names,
Okay.
I barely remember yours. So what did you think of the staging? I think they should change it for touring. How did you like the staging of Hope?
Yeah, they should 100% change it. Like, it was just a video clip, I think, playing in the background and him standing in front of it. Like, they can do so much more with it and play with the camera work and just I don't know, just have a better package overall, because that is basically the criticism that I had the most with this performance.
Mm.
He delivered it well, I thought, but staging wise, it was just a video clip playing, so
That's true.
not really the best.
I was almost glad that happened because I was terrified. I
Mm.
think I said that in my reaction video that they're going over the top and almost literal, like he's going to come in on stage with like guns, pew 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 pew, right? And I'm a cowboy, on his horse, and I was like, oh, I'm glad they didn't go the tacky route.
Mhm.
Maybe they went almost too minimalistic there, but I think that Stefan will probably stick to guitar playing, and but you can still do
Think
more with camera spinning and backdrop and do other stuff. But yeah, I hear what the people are saying. Are you going to say something?
no, you said they're gonna stick with him, and Stig was in the selection. So, anyways, moving on swiftly.
Emily Freeman is saying, I'm so happy for Stefan, and I'm glad that he's going to Eurovision. The song is amazing. Still prefer his 2020 song, By My Side, that was sweet and intimate. That's the thing, I don't quite remember it. So
Don't
that's what
remember it
maybe.
either.
Yeah, so that's usually not a good sign. What was interesting though is in 2019, that was the year Victor Krone won.
Mhm.
Um, Yuku Savista came second and Stefan came third. And now
Yeah.
look at this. You know, they predicted what was going to happen a few years later. So whoever came in second and third this year, you should be all very hopeful and optimistic.
Minimum
I think.
wind. Let's
Yep.
go.
They may make it, right? So exactly. But now I think that in hindsight, even the other songs I probably had high up in my ranking, I don't think the songs that I would have chosen, me personally, would have had a good chance at Eurovision. Like Odd Lapland, I enjoyed, but I understand that this would have not probably been the best choice. So I think, objectively looking at it, I think Estonia made the right choice sending Stefan to Eurovision with that song. So congratulations to Estonia, and especially, of course, Stefan. And I hope you'll enjoy Turin. It's a blast. It's an absolute blast. It's a lot of work, a lot of pressure, I'm sure, but it's a blast as well. So hopefully he'll focus on the fun part as well, as they should, as they should. And then we're not done yet. We got another show that came to a close yesterday, and that is Latvia. They decided what artists should go to Turin in May. The running order was announced a few days prior, and the results, we had, I think, 11 songs still in the running.
Yes.
There was a lot of distance between the performances, with 3-minute interview postcards used to introduce the acts and prepare the stage. So they certainly like to take their time as well. And then they stayed on the stage to talk about the act and yada, yada, yada. So it's not like a Melody Festival and all these Nordic shows. It's like boom, boom, boom. Ain't nobody got time for this. Let's keep going. But then the final results were 50-50 voting structure again, juries, televoters. And basically, they were not announced, the results, by the way, during the broadcast, but the final placement of the artists were revealed live on air after a confusing process. And don't ask me, that was hard to keep track of. Certainly, it was revealed that Aminata, the representative of 2015, came second, and that the band City Cini, they won Supernova. And the ultimately won. Roy, I see you dancing.
Yeah, you were muted, by the way, so I don't think people heard what you said.
I was muted, didn't unmute. That is unfortunate. I was just saying that actually that the results that they were going to Eurovision the first half of the first semifinal on May 10th. So with Eat Your Salad, and I keep laughing when I say that. In our interview with the band, you can also check out a little bit more. Make sure to check out ESC United. So talk to me, Roy. You're thinking about Eat Your Salad.
Yeah, I talked to a friend, and she knew the song. She's not into Eurovision at all. She knew the song from TikTok. This song is gonna qualify. I mean, of course, there's still a lot of songs still yet to come, but it is just fun. And I know the lyrics are a bit odd, but I think it's like fun in a way. I'm curious to see if they can, say the word on Eurovision. I think not, because if I remember correctly, like
they couldn't even say it on Latvian TV.
Yeah, and if I remember correctly, like when WAP, like that song from Nicki Minaj and Megan Thee Stallion, got very popular in Germany, for example, they changed the word in that, so probably they wouldn't be allowed to. So that sucks a bit, because it does kind of, I don't know, keep a bit of the wow factor out of it, I guess. It's a stupid song, yes. Somebody's saying it in the chat, but stupid songs sometimes just really work, and it will make you laugh, it will make you smile, and they have a lot of fun on the stage, and that's contagious. And I really enjoyed it. And overall, I love the Latvian selection. I loved watching your video and mine, and like it was polar opposites. Like I love so many of these songs. Like it was so fun, and there was a lot of like, I would say the songs are good, but it was fun, and yeah. I love the Latvia this year. I had a lot of fun, so it makes only sense that this song won.
Yeah, I see some comments in the chat. Emma saying, "I love this song." Eurovision talks and "Eat Your Salad" is in my top 3 of all Eurovision entries ever. You clearly like it. And we're always going to be honest here. And to me, and I'm not going to lie to you, it's one of the worst songs I've ever heard in my life. I'm being dramatic here, of course.
I knew you would say that.
I find it insanely tacky and cheap.
Oh, it 100% is.
Yeah, and we've had that before. This is like the Eurovision of the late 2000s, and I don't want to return to these days. This kind of music we've heard so many times, and it's camp, it's fun, but it's just I don't find the lyrics in any shape or form funny, and not because I don't have a sense of humor. It's just like if I don't mind being vulgar even or being like clever about it, but it was so darn cheap. And it sounds just like a song that we've heard a gazillion times before. I was so upset when I won. I was like, no, I'm sure they're nice people, but they always have to. It's at this point, it'll be tough for them to not be my last favorite of the year. And then also
Yeah,
I'll disagree. It's just unlistenable to me.
but this is what you kind of not necessarily want, but like it is good that it is so polarizing because the people that love it will vote for it, and the people that hate it, well, tough luck. You can't vote against the song, so you don't want to be middle of the road. Germany. You want something that like is polarizing, perhaps, because the people will vote for it that love it, and I agree with you. I don't want to go back to having a gazillion joke entries at once as well, but I do think that back in the day, those songs were usually of a very low quality. I think the production of this song is definitely like a bit better overall. Um, but yeah, I totally get that you hate it, and I totally get that a lot of people would hate it. But I think Latvia had the right choice here because this is gonna probably qualify and probably do quite decently in the contest as well, and
I
that's
don't
what
think
they
so
want.
at all. Do you really think the juries will go for it? I think Latvia
No,
may be the first country that will get negative points. That's what I'm worried about.
because you will rig it, right? Yeah.
Yes, I will go in there. I'm being a little facetious. I'm just being silly. If people
Mhm.
love it, you can love it. I'm just being very dramatic because for entertainment purposes. Of course, I mean I'm not going to be mad. I would be shocked though, because and I understand your point about the
Mhm.
polarizing effect, but you can make the same case. Let's pick on Germany again. Jendrik was very polarizing last year, and that did not help. So
Yeah, but
sometimes
that's
polarizing isn't always working. If people just don't get it, they
mhm.
won't get it. And I don't know if the casual viewer will get this. We shall see. Because I remember I showed Germany's song to my friends, and they all liked it, right?
Mhm.
And they were casual, not even they didn't even really watch Eurovision, and then it still didn't do anything. So anecdotal evidence is always it comes down the feel on the night and all that stuff and how they stage it, and maybe they pull off a "we are the winners of Eurovision" kind of
Mhm.
situation because people sometimes gravitate towards that, and it works really well with the televoters. But I just don't see the juries allowing this one to go anywhere
Yeah.
unless they really come back in the top two of the televote, top three
I
actually, I think.
yeah, I just think that this you can pencil this in for the grand final. Honestly, I do.
Yeah.
It's yeah. I get what you say again. Like this is so fun to disagree. I don't know. I always find it very fun to disagree with someone.
Mhm.
But with Jendrik, for example, the instrumentation was just a lot more shallow. Like this is backed up way better with
No, it's this
instrumentation.
one. Yeah, maybe you have a point, but I find this Aegis Salad super shallow. Like how many? It's like it's melodically, it is so uninspiring. It's like one of
Yeah,
the. It's I find it a very cheap production.
well,
But
yeah,
go ahead.
okay. It kind of depends on how you look at it, I guess. Like, there's just a lot of instruments that back it up a bit more than what
Hmm.
Jendrik had, for example. And yeah, you can say, okay, we've heard this melody a lot of times before, um, but I don't know. It is supporting the singing very well, and it doesn't feel empty at all. Like I didn't have the feeling at all during the performance that it was a bit empty or something like that. And I did have that with Jendrik when it performed live.
Yeah. Well, that's the interesting part. So just but between the two of us, they have very polarizing opinion. I feel more
Never
confident
happened.
now. No, so it's certainly it's possible, but even among the fans it's polarizing. We'll have to wait and see. I think the best thing for Latvia is that there is no other gimmick song in that semi, that there's not going to be like something that could draw that attention away from them. I don't know if there's
Mm.
going to be anything. Again, I'm still very hesitant, and maybe they come up with such a crazy staging that it's almost fun. But I will. There's. I don't think. there's not much you can do. You can put lipstick on a pig, it's still a pig, right? That's what
It,
the expression is. So that's how I feel about that song.
it will be my personal goal to get you to dance to this song. Like that will be my personal goal
I
with
will.
it.
I'm not going to be rude. And here's the thing: everything I'm saying right now is nothing against the band. I don't know them. I'm sure they're
No.
really nice, or the country, of course. But this is song to me, it makes my toenails fall off. So it's just really one of those songs I just can't. And I know now, in the event that you are not right, your prediction is correct and it's going to do well. I can see already the comments. See, Matt, da 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 da. I'm like, and if I'm right, can I then go back? No.
Sure, go ahead.
No, it's not that. It's just I have a lot of problems. I'm actually shocked. I was shocked when people actually came forward that they liked them. Like, well, this is clearly going to be the next, the next universally disliked song. But I guess.
Uh,
Thank you, by the way, Diggs. My Matt, you are too old to like the song. Well, if I'm too old, there were plenty of other people that are too old. So keep that in mind. You cannot just count on the young demographics. In a lot of countries, only older people vote.
yeah,
So
true.
think about that. So your insult backfires
Oh, I
in your
love this.
face, in your face. Now I get it. But Emma asked a really good question.
Okay.
Which of these? Oh no, these three. Never mind. I thought she was gonna ask a question. Still a good question though. Which of the three cities performances from Supernova did you prefer as a way of dealing with that word? I only saw the semifinal performance. I know I saw the final performance as well. I lied. Don't matter to me.
Did they perform 3 times?
I guess so. Is that like an audition?
I didn't really watch the auditions. I only really watched the final and the
Which one did
semifinal.
you like better? I guess I would pick the finals.
Yeah, me too. But I mean, they
Yeah.
can definitely play with that. Like they will have a proper direction, and like the delegation will help them out with staging it properly. So
Mm-hmm.
I don't think we have to worry about that.
Now we have to worry about that. And people are probably super excited right now about me because I didn't like Italy last year. But to be fair, in prior years, I was spot on. Just 21 is a notable, not a notable exception, but it's been a while because I loved the Dutch song, I love the Israeli song, I love Portugal. There's so many songs that I love. Now, there's a good question that I was thinking is, if you ask me who would I send, I mean, and as we pointed out, I was not a big fan of the lineup anyways. So I didn't have a strong feeling. I probably would have picked Aminata because the only song at least that I'm like, I can see Koi's and the juries would like it. And she sings it so well. It's not the most interesting ballad there is, but I thought between everything that's out there, that's how I feel. That was my favorite. So yeah, I'm personally a little worried about Latvia. They often get a lot of hype around the songs and then they flop. And I'm just worried that will continue this year as well. But we shall see. And MGV is saying Norway's in the same semi. And if they choose those guys with the ears, they might cancel each other. I haven't listened to Norway yet, so I
Oh, you're
cannot
in for
speak
a
to that.
treat.
Okay. So I
I
will
can't
do
wait
mine.
for the election.
I'll try to record that today, but I'm still recovering from doing Germany. So I just may need to get high or drunk with something.
Or both.
So both. Oh gosh. Um so again, nothing but love, of course, for Latvia. And I know I sound I'm being very cartoonish here. I'm happy for anyone, and I will say just like with Italy, even though I'm not a fan of the song, I mean, when you watch that performance, it's like, oh my god, this looks like a winner, even though it never sounded to me like a winner. So there was a feel. And if Latvia can create something like that, maybe they can go far. And there is an audience out there, because it's pointed out, there is if a joke entry comes across well, televote might go for it to a certain extent. But if they flop and maybe people just don't get it, it could go really the other way. So we have to see. And plus, we don't know yet what the competition is going to look like. And to be fair, I would say as well, as of right now, I'm not the biggest fan of this year's contest in terms of song selection. So there are some pearls out there, but it's, to me, if I were to do a comparison to this year to last year, I think I'm still a more Team 21. Where are you at, Roy?
It's really early to say. Like in the beginning of last year, I also didn't love all of the songs, if I remember correctly. But there's definitely some gems this year. Like it's very diverse, I feel like, so far.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I don't know. I just need to gel on that a bit more and maybe like give a final
No, I need an
judgment.
answer now. I asked you. No, it's fine.
Well,
That is fine. So, those were the 4 songs chosen and lots of opinions. So it sounds like for Roy, it was a good night, huh?
yeah,
Overall?
honestly, like pretty much all of the ones that I thought should go and win won. I mean, Kalish Orchestra was my favorite in Ukraine afterwards, but
Mm-hmm.
I definitely
But
recognize that Alina Paj had an amazing performance and it was an amazing song too. Like, honestly, if you sent any song of that Ukrainian selection, they would have had a good shot at qualifying. Like maybe one or two that not as much, but it was strong. So I would have been happy either way.
yeah. Cleona saying, I think our fans say, oh, it's not as good as last year at this stage of selection, and we'll say the same next year. To be fair, that is true, but to be fair, I usually don't. It has been not a good year for me in terms of my favorites. Like there were so many, only I think with Lithuania, I only got my way twice, right? And on 3 occasions now, my least favorite one in a semi. So it's a very dramatic outcome to me. So that's what I'm referring to. So as far this, I feel as a lot of countries made bad choices, according to my taste.
You also got to keep in mind that, like right now, the countries that have decided are usually not high flyers. Like the Baltics
Right.
usually struggle, Moldova usually struggle. There's a lot of songs right now that are not high flyers. Last year we already had France. We already had. I mean, Lithuania was great again last year. We had Ukraine, I think, as well. We had a lot of
Mm-hmm.
like bigger countries already having decided their song, so that definitely weighs in with that as well. So
Yeah,
I don't
no,
think
I'm
we
not
can
saying
be that
overall. I'm
critical.
just saying up to this point right
Mm.
now. I'm not. I'm comparing to the songs from last year. Those 13 selected ones, I feel a little bit more. But you said they're not high hitters, or at least not traditionally. I mean, Latvia won before, so.
Yeah.
But it's yeah, I hear what you're saying. It's just I'm still hoping. I am hoping for more songs that I feel like but there are a couple of where I'm like really excited.
So,
Uh,
who's your favorite at the moment?
Okay. Well, that's an easy answer. Italy.
Italy. Ah, okay.
Yeah, no competition for me at this
Yeah,
point.
it's in
Italy,
my
and
top
then
three as well. So,
yeah. So, how about yours?
my favorite is Moldova.
You know what?
Mm,
It's high up in my ranking than with a lot of other people.
good.
So I have to look at my ranking, like 4 or 5th or something like that. So, because a lot of people have it really far down, right?
Yeah, I know.
Um, I actually quite like the song. It's just a fun
It's
vibe,
so
and I
fun.
know, and I keep repeating, I say that every time we talk about Moldova, but it bears repeating. Moldova frequently underestimated,
Mm,
overlooked, right? It's just like
yeah,
the Eurovision fans don't care for this whole lot, and then it does fairly well at the contest. So I could see easily that happening again, and then later on, everyone loves it, So, so I can see something happening there.
good.
Yeah, good. That's all you have to add. That's fine. So any other question now? Anything? Oh no, let's talk about a little bit about other shows. So, did you watch Melfest?
I did this morning. I didn't like watch the full show. I just kind of clicked through all of the performances, so I at least saw all of the 7
Mm-hmm.
songs perform. Um, yeah, can I say that I find Melfest a bit more disappointing every year?
Yeah,
This
doesn't
year
scream
it's
Roy taste to me.
no, not at all. I did think the Liamo song was like is a potential song that could go to Eurovision and do quite decently, but I definitely think that they need to revamp it a little bit, and Sweden never really does that. Like
No.
they just really need to amp up the danciness of the song. Like right now, they really sweetenified the EDM, I guess. Like you could really have a club banger with that song, but they really didn't go that route, and that's unfortunate.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, I haven't really been excited by any of the songs in Sweden so far. Sorry, Malfest fans.
There's certain songs that I had an appreciation for. I mean, I agree with Liamo in my original pre-show ranking. I put him as the first as well. It is to me like the most Thomas Gison song that was not written by Thomas Gison. It sounds very Swedish, very much down that route, and it's enjoyable. Not very much what you expect from Sweden. I wish there was not as much backup vocal involvement in there. Like the track, it's like you can barely hear him, and
Yeah.
that I hate that Eurovision's going down that route. So that is one of my biggest issues right now with Eurovision, and I'm fighting it hard. But I know that there's not much I can do. So that bothered me a lot about it, and it felt a little bit too contrived as well, like trying too hard. Wasn't as natural, but it was. I get it why people liked it, and I kind of liked it as well enough. I agree with you. It's not the best lineup of songs so far, but it was enjoyable. John Lundvik, I felt as that was a more genuine effort. Like he really enjoyed singing the song. That's something that he wants to sing. I don't think he's going for a win here because just the fact that he sings in Swedish. And he didn't even win this semi, so I don't think he's going to win overall. But I'm glad that and he's just such a great charismatic singer. You just feel drawn into him. So I genuinely enjoyed that as well. Then the two semifinal chances were Tone Sekelios My Way, the first transgender person to take part in Melodifestivalen through to the second chance round, and Alvaro Estrella Suave. Do you remember the songs at all, Roy?
Yeah, I mean, and whenever I see Alvaro Estrella, you can just literally already pencil mark in the song he's gonna present. Like it's literally the same every single year.
Mm-hmm.
The other song, I mean, it was okay. It's great that they got to like perform it on the stage, and they did well with it, I would say. But also instrumentally, it wasn't very amazing, really, out of this world. It wasn't. The staging wasn't out of this world either. It was okay, and that is just basically how I've been feeling with Sweden this year. Like it's okay, but nothing that wows me so far. So I hope the next two semifinals will really deliver that. And I
Yeah.
don't think any of the three non-qualifiers really delivered it either. Like the rock song, I should love rock because I'm kind of a metalhead, but this one didn't really do it for me, and it was just a bit too poppy in a way, and her live delivery wasn't as good as it could have been. Yeah. Let's hope for the next two semis.
Yeah, I cannot. I mean, Alvaro's music drives me up the wall. It's like the same song every time, and every single time it goes for the second chance round. So we know he'll see him in the finals because then he qualifies because he has the youngster vote for sure. They just love that kind of music. I can't. So, but I'm not surprised at all. I was secretly hoping maybe some of the other songs would squeeze through, but they didn't. Tony's song reminded me so much of like the Melfest era of the 2000s sound. So I always have an appreciation for some retro sound, but I'm fully aware it is not the most uniquely written piece. And not maybe the strongest vocalist. So everything about it screams Melfest. And I love Melfest, so I give it a little bit of a pass. It's fun. But it is not in any shape or form a winner, nor any song that they could go and be like, this is something so unique. It's not the next Euphoria. Let's put it that way.
No.
So I agree with that. It's overall to me. It's like, yeah, it's fine. It's not quite as bad like it's a German like doll. At least there's a little bit more excitement. But I do think the winner is yet to come, unless Cornelia, she could potentially now be the dark horse. But that's the only song I can from the first semi I could see win this whole thing right now. All the other ones I would be surprised.
Yeah, I don't know. I would say the edge for me right now is Liamo, but I definitely agree that Cornelia is like the other contender. I mean, they both won the semis, right?
Yes.
Did they like review that the years prior, like the winner of the semi?
No, so that's actually a question that came up by Eurovision Talk. Do you guys like the new system in Melfest with how they are announcing the qualifiers? So just to get back, previously, they at least, I mean, they changed it up over the years anyway, but for the last few years at least, this is how they did. So we had 7 songs in the running. It used to be 8, then it brought down to 7. But basically, they announced the first 5 songs, right? 5 songs that make it to the next round, meaning 2 songs will be eliminated. And then you get to vote again for the top 5. And then they announce the first direct qualifier randomly. We didn't know if it was first or second. And then the 2 second chance candidates, and then between the 5th place and the other qualifier, they then announced that one. And we didn't know who came first though. This year they're going to are doing it in a different way than previously. So it didn't work last week because they had technical difficulties, but this week it worked. So the idea is they're gonna vote. Everybody votes for all 7 songs, and then the winner is being announced. So last week it was Cornelia, I guess, and this week it was Liamo. So we know they won the semi. Then the remaining 6 songs will go into a second round of voting. And then we get the points separately. The first, I don't forgot the age cutoff time, but like the 13 to 17-year-old vote will come in first, then the 18 to 25 vote, and then 25 to 35. I don't know exactly the breakout until all of them have voted, and then the televote will be added on top of it as well. And so you can see as songs go up and down in the ranking, and you know exactly how well they've done or not well. So we now have a little bit of an idea where they stand as of right now in terms of popularity. So we do know that John Lundvik won the second round by landslide. So he was the clear winner on that part. And we also see, you know, that Avaya was the clear third place, I think, if I remembered correctly.
Yeah.
So that how it's going. And I personally dislike this tremendously. It spoils the results because you kind of already have more of an invite. Well, we know that this song's probably not going to win. It subconsciously affects people. And I know they do that in other countries where we know the rankings. I get that. But I thought that was one of Melfa's strongest assets is that you don't do that. Kind of like in Eurovision, you don't tell the semifinalists, this came in 10th place in the semis. We don't want to know that. It influences people's thinking. And like, oh, I need to vote for it, or this one doesn't have a chance. You know, you start voting in a way that you don't want to. So this kind of applies here as well. I think it's counterproductive and it's not a good way to do it. I understand why they do it because more people, more votes, more money. So I'm fully aware of that, but I personally dislike it a lot. I think it's dumb. I tweeted about it yesterday. So if you followed me on Twitter, you would have known. But no, seriously, how do you like it?
Yeah, I hate it too. Like they had a perfect system. Like it was so tense to just have like those final two songs, one of them going to the final and the other one being eliminated completely, and you're like, oh, who is it gonna be? Is it gonna be my favorite or the other one? And then it was so perfect. Like you first have the winner, or not the winner, like one of the two automatic qualifiers, then the under the
The
chances
obvious. Usually they
one.
pick the more obvious one. You
Yeah,
know. So.
exactly. And it was a perfect system that didn't need fixing, and it's kind of just a money grabbing way of doing it now. Like this system is fun for like the grand final, but like you said, like this will influence people subconsciously, and I hate it. Just plain out there, I hate it this way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're not going to change it for the rest of the year. Obviously, they cannot just go
No.
back to the old system next week. But
But
I'm
next year
hoping
they should.
yeah, I don't know how. I don't think SVT strikes me as a broadcast that is too worried about fans' opinions. I think they're just going to stick with, you know, or like certainly not internationals because, you know, we don't really matter. Um, So Sadie is talking about I swear Matthew said he won by landslide. I misheard. I said John Lundvik won the second round of voting by a landslide. Liamo won the semi, but then for the second round, um, John Lundvik won this round, that part by a landslide. So that's what I said. So I know it's confusing with the new system how they do it.
Yeah.
So I can see where this is like. So yeah, that's all we're having. Is there
I'm
an
also
artist?
curious.
Go ahead.
I'm also curious that like how they will do the Andere Chancen now, because it would be like all 8 songs at once, I think, and then like 4 of them just go through to the final instead of like duels. So
Yeah,
I'm
it's a
really
little.
curious
They
how
have a
that's gonna
slightly.
look.
They don't have the dual thing anymore
Hmm.
in that sense, and they go, "We no longer have Andra Johnson." I'm like, it's a new semifinal. Like it's Andra Johnson, just a different format. It's still leftovers, you
Exactly.
know. So it's not that much different. Um. So yeah. And then the other shows, I didn't watch Slovenia, so I cannot really comment. But they had their second semifinal. That is done, and Norway had their also their second chance round where one act Maria Mon is actually the final finalist, basically, and that is what happened. Did you watch any of the other semifinals?
Yeah, I did reactions on all of the Norwegian semifinals right before they happened. If you're not subscribed to my channel, also make sure to do so. Shameless plug. Um, yeah, so I know all of the songs. It isn't one of my favorites. I would have, you would have hated his song, "Dance Like a Pink Flamingo," um, but I think that should have gone through to the final. It was just, something different. It's like a metal combined with craziness, and yeah, I think that should have gone through instead of Maria Mon. But it is what it is. They're not going to win anyway, I think, because like we already know who won every heat, so
Okay.
it'll be a bit weird if they won.
I will go. I will watch them. I'll try to do it today, Norway. My today, of course, because I'm 9 hours behind. And have that up as soon as possible. I just didn't have time to do the heats. Sean did that for me. So thank you, Sean, for helping out while I was away. So that is definitely, yeah. So we have more shows to come next week. Let me take a look at ESC United calendar. We do have a calendar on ESC United. I should have had that up to see what songs. Of course, we're going to have Norway next week, right? We already brought that one up. We're going to have Malta. We're going to have Croatia, Poland, Slovenia, and San Marino. So not much happening that day.
San Marino. Oh, have you heard who is in the lineup for that?
No. I'm trying to. I deliberately staying away from it because I'm trying to make my reaction videos as natural as possible.
Yeah.
Right?
Okay. But do you know the system at all?
No. Also
Okay.
staying away from that.
No, like
but you can tell me. You can tell me. I mean, it's not like I deliberately say, but I try not to read it. But you can tell me that part.
Like they have like 60 songs or something like that performing in like the semifinals, and like
Right, 16?
60.
1-6?
60. Like I think that was the number, but like they have a first semifinal, and then the top 3 of those qualify for the grand final. Then they have another semifinal with totally new songs, and then 3 of those qualify for the semifinal, and then another semifinal with 3 of those going to the final. They have a second chance with the 4th till 6th places as a wild card thing. And besides that, they also have like 9 known artists that are way bigger that are already in the grand final.
Do we know anyone?
Yes, Achille Lauro, who participated in Sanremo. The guy that like, did you watch Sanremo a lot this year?
People in the chat will probably answer that for you. Did I tell you the story? I never watched Sanremo in full, right? I only watched like the clips and the songs at some point because I'm like, I don't have that time. But this year, I'm going to watch the final. I cannot do all 5 days, but I'll dedicate to watch the final show. And I'm going to put 3.5 hours aside. Then I got to go. I'm good to go. Let's watch it.
3.5.
Exactly.
Oh, you need double as much.
And I had to leave. So I watched a lot. I listened to other songs, but I don't remember the names right now.
Basically, the guy that baptized himself. With the Harlem Gospel Choir.
What? Oh, I didn't realize
that. Like the really
yes.
Odd guy, I guess. Like
yes. I remember it now. Yes.
So he's in the San Marino selection, and there's like some other big names, and it is so weird, so big, so interesting. And the girl from Czech Republic, Elis Mraz, with the same song will also be in like the semi. It's so weird, and I'm curious for that.
That is, but how can the smallest country in the running have the most amount of songs in there? That is just odd. Avaku says it too. San Marino has more songs than people in that country, and now it feels like it, right? But it's all, of course, very promotional purposes and all that stuff. And I think it's not a bad idea for them because they don't have a music market per se. So I mean, unless I want to send Valentina again, but how do you like it? I mean, we haven't seen the execution of it, but are you glad that they have a final, even if it's like wild?
I am very okay. I'm just really excited to see how it will pan out because it sounds so wild and so weird and odd and so much happening at the same time that I'm really excited for that. Whether it will work or not, I don't know. But like they attracted some quite big names, so perhaps it will give them a good result in Eurovision because that's what they want ultimately. So if it works for them, they should perhaps keep doing it for other years as well. But yeah, I'll hold judgment until like next weekend for that, really.
Yeah. So by the way, everyone in the chat, now is the time to ask Q&A questions, just open-ended questions. We have a few more minutes at ESC United. Make sure you put that in there, otherwise we'll not see it. I mean, if you see it, Roy, let me know. But at ESC United, any questions you have. My question to you, Roy, is: but out of the 6 countries I just mentioned, Croatia, Malta, Norway, Poland, Slovenia, San Marino, which one are you looking forward to the most?
I mean, Don't really care for Malta that much. Wait, let me actually get the sheet.
Do you want to rephrase that? You mean you don't care for the Maltese acts or
Oh
like the
yeah,
songs?
I mean, we all get that, don't we?
I know,
Uh,
I know, I know.
Let me get our
I'm
wonderful
just gonna do an
EPX.
out of context video where I'm just gonna cut that out.
Yeah, yeah. Just make an
Breaking
entire
news! Roy
compilation.
said he is not fond of the country of Malta.
Yeah, totally the case. I think out of all of them, I'm most excited for Slovenia, just because I've heard half of the songs already. Other half is coming tomorrow on my channel. I'm the most excited in the entire week for the France songs to come out. Like, I'm excited for that a lot.
Yeah, that is actually Thomas Labry's asked a question. What, and if we still doesn't know the songs from? I'm lost with
France.
all the national finals. France comes to mind. Uh, there's still a few songs in Australia we don't know yet, right?
Yeah, exactly. And Poland, like one or two songs that aren't known yet either.
Yeah.
Um,
I think that's it, right?
I think so, yeah.
The other ones are all internal selections.
Yeah, and like Iceland and Portugal are out already. Romania is
Yes,
out.
Romania. We know the last songs as well.
Mhm.
I haven't listened to them yet. I'm
Same.
trying, people. I'm trying really hard, but
It's a
it's
lot of national finals this year. It is
especially
a
last year
lot of
because you
work.
didn't have that many. So and when
Yeah.
they had them, some of them only had like 3 songs, and it's just like, oh my god. And I was out for like the first part, so all I'm doing is playing catch up. So I'm doing what I can. In terms of for me, I'm actually looking forward to Poland only because I want Poland to
Oh,
do
yeah.
really well at the contest, and my roots are Polish, even though I'm from Germany, so I'm biased. But now I'm always rooting for the countries that haven't had much success at the
Yeah.
contest as of late, and I'm always worried they're on the verge of withdrawing because of that.
Mm.
So I'm really looking forward to that. I hope they're going to have some good stuff, but I will not listen to them until I know all of the songs. That's my rule,
Yeah.
because I
Same.
don't have time to go back and do that again. Ain't nobody got time for that. Now let's answer some questions. Emma is asking, do you think an act should be able to enter 2 national selections in the same year? My answer is the EBU doesn't care, right? You can do whatever you want. Every broadcaster can set their own rules. I remember, it's been like 15 years now. Ik Troje, I think was the name of the Polish band.
Mm.
They entered the German and the Polish national final, then won the Polish one. But what if they would have won the German one as well? So the following year, they set a rule where you can no longer do that. I don't care. I mean, I like the idea almost San Marino becoming the leftover kind of like there's so many good songs that should have won. If they could bring them all in, how cool would that
The
be? So
second chance country,
second
basically.
chance country. I like the idea, so I'm not opposed to it.
Mm.
How are you feeling about that?
Yeah. The question was whether we enjoy like the acts going there. I would say that is perfectly fine for me. Like, I think if an act doesn't qualify in their country, then they can definitely go to San Marino. What I don't like is that they go with the exact same song. Um,
Yeah.
so that I don't like. If they have a different song, then sure, go ahead. Like, that's basically taking out a year of waiting for you to try again.
Eskimo Cowboy for San Marino. Wouldn't that be hilarious if they end up going and then
Yeah.
they're gonna do better than Germany, which they probably would.
Yeah.
It's just a funny thought in my head. All right, let's take a look at some of the other question. The UK doesn't have the national selection question mark. Not that it doesn't look like it. So I
No.
doubt.
They've said that they will choose internally. Like,
Yeah.
they have now a new record label that they will work with, and that record label will decide the artist and the song, basically.
And they've done a really good job as of late. So we
Yeah,
should
but
be very
that's
good
why it's
about it.
no, but that's like why it's probably a new record label. Like, the other one was a different one that they.
I know. I'm just being, silly.
I know.
But I'm always worried about that. We'll see how that's
Mm.
going to pan out. But having a record label choose is not a great idea often either. But I do it in other countries as well, but they just do better, I guess. Yesterday dropped the last song from the Polish selection. All are now available. So we are ready for your reaction, Matt. All right, I will listen to them. I got Norway, Poland, Iceland, Romania, Serbia. I will never
There's
see
a
my
lot.
family again. Okay. So yeah, I'll work on that.
Oh, they're right as well. Oh God, another. Yeah. Okay.
Somebody was asking any news on the Russia selection. The only thing I heard earlier today, and that is just take it with a grain of salt, but it came from a reliable source, usually who doesn't make up stuff, that the Russia broadcaster is in talks with a certain artist act that people would be very upset about.
Oh.
Yeah, they're like, the guy said, hope it's not true. There's still some final decisions have to be made. So
Mhm.
take it with a grain of salt. That's what I read from a reliable source, but it is also very vague. So it sounds like Eurovision fans would not like this. I think Russian fans, the average Russian fan, would not be happy, something like that. So, but that's all I heard. So again, that may be also inaccurate. And are we gonna get a little big now? I don't think we're gonna get something a big name this year in Russia, just due to the current environment, I guess, for the lack of a
Mhm.
better word. Let's see other questions. Will Mirana contest be the new Claudia Faniello? I haven't. Claudia Faniello from Malta. Have you listened to the Maltese songs yet, Roy?
I've listened to the first 7. I need to do the other 2 parts
Okay.
this week.
Yeah, Malta. I haven't mentioned that, so that I got to listen to those as well. But yeah, Malta always is just like, you know, most of them are just like really rando songs, and there's like one or two that stand out, kind of thing. So I expect that to continue. I was surprised that they actually went back to a national final.
Me
Were you?
too.
Because they
I
were
was
doing like
super
decent with the internal
surprised.
selection. I was
They
very
weren't even
surprised.
doing decent. They were doing really well. Like even with oh, what's the chameleon girl's name? Michaela? Michaela?
Comedian?
Chameleon. Is
Oh,
that
chameleon.
the
I know she was that funny. Chameleon, yes.
Yeah, I mean, I don't like that they used X Factor for that before, because I just don't get why they use those kind of things, because then if you come second in X Factor, you would have to re-enter X Factor to go to Eurovision, even if Eurovision might be your dream. Like, I
Yeah,
hate those kind of selections.
me too.
But then they internally wrote the song together, and that just really worked out for them. And even last year and the year before were great songs of very high quality. And I was really surprised that they went back to a national final, because usually the quality of those weren't very good in the past.
Hmm.
So yeah, I was really surprised.
Yeah, I was very surprised as well. I was gonna say, wouldn't it be Kirkorov himself saying? No, actually, somebody said that as well, and they said it's not him because even he would be more favorable with the folks
Ooh.
than that. So I'm like, okay, that is a very strong statement. So we shall see. Do
Yes.
you think San Marino will have high quality songs in its semifinals? Well, considering they have so many songs chosen, um, I don't think they're going to be that. I'm sure there will be some, but I think if you look at like all of them, I think there will be a lot of meh songs. Would be my guess, right? I mean, how many good songs can you have?
Yeah, there'll definitely be some like gems that people will love randomly.
Hmm.
So I definitely think there will be like a few good songs, but overall, I think most of the bulk of the selection will probably be not as good, perhaps. But hey, if they prove me wrong, I'll gladly eat my words.
Exactly. No, I want to be wrong. When I say someone
Mhm.
doesn't do well, I don't. Just like again, let's go back to our previous Latvia conversation. I'm not rooting against Latvia. It would never be a thing. I don't get that concept of like because I don't like a song, therefore it has to do badly at Eurovision. Otherwise, it's all just BS. That's just not who I am. I'm happy if people love it. I'll scratch my head and think like, huh? But I will never be like angry and then put it out there for everyone to be like, what? I am honest, but I'm not going to be a dick about it. Let's put it that way. So I'm looking forward to the French songs as well because
Mhm.
also now France coming right there from a big hype from last year,
Yeah,
and the expectations are high, huh?
very high. Yeah, they did really well. So I would only assume that a lot of artists get encouraged by that and just decide to submit a song. So I would definitely expect a higher quality selection compared to last year. Maybe I'm wrong again, but
Hmm.
I'm really, really looking forward to those songs coming out.
Yes, me too. And out of the songs, Roy, that we know are going to be internal selections, which one
Mhm.
country are you paying attention to? Is
I
there
mean, my
one?
own country, obviously,
Yeah, I
but
was just about to say not counting the Netherlands.
uh,
But talking about the Netherlands, they got inspired by last year's results overall, singing in Dutch for the first time since Shalali Shalala.
well, if this, I mean,
If it's gonna be anything like Shalali Shalala,
I'll eat my shoe,
I will
but
Shalali Lala shit my pants. Okay,
yes.
so but
Yeah, I'm very excited for Estine being selected for us, because looking at some of the material that she makes is really exciting, very unpolished. So I hope it is a bit more polished um, the song that she goes to Eurovision with, but it's really exciting, really young. I always love young artists going because they have a big career ahead of them still. So Eurovision could be a massive step up stone. Belgium is one that I'm really excited for as well. And gosh, what
Bjorn said. So we already have the singer. We don't have a name yet. It's the name of the song yet. We know who it's going to be. So it's slightly different than some of the other countries.
Yeah. Wait, who are all the other? I can't think on top.
I know, like I need to think here: Azerbaijan, Armenia. I'm kind of hoping, rooting for Armenia for having missed the last one, and they've had 3 non-qualifications too. 2.
Yeah, and they won junior, so they might be very motivated with doing well. So I'm quite excited for that as well, actually.
That is true. That's true. So maybe they shouldn't win this time around, but because they have plenty of work ahead of them. I'm trying to think. Switzerland is still out. That's another one. Russia, we mentioned that one.
I'm forgetting about one.
Cyprus.
That flag, Georgia.
Oh yeah, Georgia.
that act. I'm so curious what song that will be.
What they call it? Circus Schmirkus?
Circus Mirkus, yes. Oh. And all of the you need to see like the little promo.
Circus Mirkus?
Circus Mirkus.
Circus Mirkus.
This guy was like talking about either the song or when they were selected, and like he was like sitting there like dressed as kind of an old posh person or like some artist, and he was like speaking in a very like monotone voice, like, "We are Circus Mirkus and we will represent Georgia at the Eurovision Song Contest." Next sentence, or like first like a little play in between, and then like next sentence, and then another next sentence. It was so like they're an act, and I don't know what to expect really. So I'm curious for that one.
Expectations for Portugal, Matt. Have you seen some recommended songs? No, I have not seen any recommended songs, and I don't want to see any recommendations because I don't want to have an expectation going into this when I record it. Because last week, Gabe mentioned that line about the I don't like to eat meat. Right. And I didn't know before I watched the video. So I already knew it was coming,
Yeah.
at some point. I'm like, that's why I'm trying to stay away from any sort of spoilers, just to make it authentic. So no, but I am worried because, I mean, Portugal did really well, considering, at least with the juries last year. Especially after not having a whole lot of support, but I was so bummed out because I didn't care for the song very much, and there were so many songs that I really, really liked in the running, and none of them made it. So Portugal often doesn't do what I want them to. So please, I will watch it, but don't mess it up. I mean, you can't really say they messed it up last year because it's one of their better results, But I don't care about the results. I only care about what I like. So very important. Circus Schmirkus. Okay, yeah, I messed that one up. Circus Mirkus. If you could have one country in ESC that has never competed ever, what would it be? I mean, the go chance is always Kazakhstan just because of their junior ties.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think. I mean, that would be the obvious choice, but I would have something like Liechtenstein. Because they're like a tiny country, but it would be cool to have them. I know they don't have a broadcaster, but that would be one of mine.
Maybe be a bit like San Marino, like
right. But I like these kind of wild cards. I think that's fun, and it's the only country in Europe, right, that has not taken part. Well, not counting Vatican City, I think. But but yeah, that's so. I'm like, let them in once, and then so we can. So that would be my choice. Any other things that I haven't mentioned? But countries.
Greenland. Somebody says in the chat like they have like a few artists that are quite cool.
But Greenland's not a country, really, per se. It's part of Denmark, really, right?
Yeah. If it could be like any country in the entire world, I would easily choose South Africa because they have some really cool music, and like the South African music scene is one of my favorite music scenes in the world. That would be really cool, but I mean that will never happen.
Yeah,
that will never happen.
Oh, somebody mentioned Kosovo. I forgot about Kosovo. Yeah, I mean it's a little bit more politically charged, of course, but yeah, that's another one that would be interesting. Did I miss any other country? No, I think that's it. Can you talk about Romania? It's a country I would really like to visit and see. So please win Eurovision, but I haven't listened to the songs yet, so I cannot really comment on it, but it's on my to-do list. So
Yeah,
stay tuned for that.
I think
How
they're
about you?
referring to the drama that happened last night. That was
Oh,
like,
there's drama
yeah, of
with
course
your
there's
mama.
drama. Why wouldn't there be drama?
It's
Um,
I know it's Romania. We got to count on that one in the national final. What
yeah,
happened?
apparently, allegedly, the jurors were asked to write down their points. So, like 4 or 5 songs before the final songs were actually like performed. So, like they only listened to 11 out of 16 songs, or how many there were. And then I already had to hand in their points. So the final
Yeah.
4 or 5 songs they didn't hear before, because and this is the most amazing part of it. Then it could be printed out on a fancy piece of paper, and that would be more official. And if they waited until all of the songs performed, it would take too long for the printer to print out the results.
What is this? What year?
This year, it happened this weekend.
Are you serious right now?
This is allegedly like the story. Like there
Oh,
were
so
like,
it wasn't like that's what they're saying behind the scenes kind of stuff.
yeah, exactly. That's what's being rumored that really happened, because like 2 or 3 of the fan favorites like completely got missed out in like they were in the end of the show, and that's just basically the rumors that have been going on right now.
So it has not been confirmed yet. Okay, but if
No,
that were to be
no,
true,
it would be a
that would
wild
be
story.
that would be wild. Because I
Yes, a
know
printer.
Romania's had this history with the jury thing anyway. Remember 2019, they were all upset about it.
Mm.
And even previous years, there seems to be really odd things happening. So, gosh, but again, it doesn't matter in the end because the broadcaster can do whatever they want. The EBU doesn't get involved. Again,
Yeah.
there could be just the boss, the CEO of the broadcast coming like, I'm going to overrule everything. This is who we're going to pick. Yeah, it may be controversial in the country, but the
Mhm.
EBU won't care because it's just not their place to get involved. So, and I understand that. Um, and almost all favorites were eliminated because it was 100% jury. Really?
Yeah.
So, as you said, like I didn't realize that.
It wasn't 100%, but like they did a system of 2019, I think, or 2018,
Oh, well,
when they had like
yeah,
only 12 points, and then like it was basically one jury, and there were
the
like a lot of
televote was
other
like
juries.
one set of jurors, basically,
Yeah,
kind of thing.
exactly. So they
Yeah,
had basically that system, and it, like somebody mentioned, the top 5 televote songs were eliminated.
yeah.
Yikes.
Rumors have that Cyprus will send an ethnic song with some Greek. Well, we know where the 12 points will go from Greece, regardless. But just from me, I like the sound of that.
Yeah, that sounds quite good. I don't know where the rumors are from, of course, but yeah,
Yeah, if that is
I
true,
love it.
take it with a grain of salt.
Yeah, Cyprus definitely performed in Greek before. That's a dumb question.
Yeah. Someone is saying, Igonito, that Romania has no song still in the selection that will qualify safely, and I mean, again, I don't know yet. I cannot confirm, agree, or disagree with what you're saying because I haven't listened to them yet. But there seems to be this thing, Romania being quite the powerhouse at Eurovision for so many years, and they really have fallen off that wagon. It's quite disappointing, huh?
Yeah,
Considering it's just like since 2018, it's just
yeah, basically, like they were really the powerhouses. Like I remember writing an article about it, that they had a perfect qualifying streak, and they've really fallen off lately. And I don't know. I will never excuse them for sending Roxanne with the song they did, because like she makes the best deep house music, and it's so her thing, and that would be so good. But they didn't. It is what it is, but it's sad that they're just kind of falling off, and I hope that they can pick it up again, because we want every country to do as best as they could. That's why we make these videos. That's why we, I don't know, give some critique sometimes, some feedback perhaps. Yeah, we just want to see every country do as best as they can.
yes. Exactly. Somebody's asking any news about America Vision. I mean, there are lots of information out there, but the contest is basically starting mid late March. Like, I think the 21st was the day when American Song Contest will kick off, and it's a long process, longer than Eurovision actually, because I think the last show, the final, will be the day before the semifinals, which then would be May 9th. So it's a gazillion shows in there as well, different elimination rounds. And I don't know all the ins and outs on top of my head either, but it is happening. It was pushed back a little bit, but it had to do with the whole, current environment, pandemic, and then Omicron hit and all of that stuff. So, but it is going to happen at least this year. What, Roy? I'm not trying to be too negative because I'm trying to be realistic, but realistically, I'm feeling more like this is going to be a flop. How do you feel?
I'll definitely be curious to see how it pans out. But is it like close to Eurovision week as well?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So we're probably going to be busy at that time. Um, yeah. I don't want to have my hopes up too highly. I know that Mirut from the Albanian selection, he lives in New York, and he tweeted that he was approached by people from New York to represent the state, but he
Who?
declined, I think.
I didn't
Mirut
catch.
from
Oh, Root.
Albania. Yeah, he tweeted that before. I'm not sure how much truth there is to that, or if that was just to gauge, oh, would you be down for it or not? But yeah, I don't know if it's one country after all. So like, I'm just afraid that it will be a bit like flavorless. I wouldn't say flavorless. That's maybe a bit too disrespectful, but just a lot of the same kind of music. And
Yeah, it's just. I'm gonna say something. I mean, it's just a reality. I like to live in reality. Certain states have a lot more of connection with their state than others. Like, and to me, American Idol was almost like a mini American Vision because people voted for the act from their state often. That's why that one girl from Hawaii did really well, even though she wasn't that great. That's why that one guy from that southern state, I forgot what, did really well, even though he was not that good. But they voted him because it's from that state. Now, certain states, me especially living here in California, it's like, and here is Katy Perry. She's from California. I'm like, yeah, who cares? Everyone's from California. We don't have that kind of like connection to it. It applies to a lot of other states. So I think there's a unbalanced situation there. So it really depends on where you're coming from. So maybe it'll be a little different because we do have Miss America and all that stuff as well. But I don't know. I just don't know what the South is going to send versus what it's going to be. It's such a big question mark for me. It's hard for me to really wrap my brain around it. So, but I'm really hopeful for that. What do you think if there was a rule that requires each nation to participate with the song in their own language? I think it's the right spirit. You mean at Eurovision? I'm against that. I'm all in favor of encouraging it. And there's many songs, but I hate any sort of restriction when it comes to artistic freedom. Could you imagine... what's the name from Hooverphonic singing not in English? Their art was always English music. So now you have to sing in a different language. That's not who we are, and that's not the kind of music. Then it's just not me. But I'm always about encouraging that and pushing for it. But I would never want to have a rule like that again because it will, in some cases, disadvantage countries. How do you feel about it?
Yeah, I basically 100% echo what you say. Like, I just hate it when you restrict artists to participate in a national selection, or like you're literally telling to an artist, "Oh, you gotta fit into these rules if you want to participate." And often, if you give artists just their creative freedom, they'll come out with the best possible song. Like, they really should get their freedom. And if you just say, "Yo, you gotta sing in your native language now," and they don't like that, or they want to sing, I don't know, in a different language, let's say like a Dutch representative wanted to sing in German, like that can happen as well right now if the song is good enough. But if you really restrict them to sing in your own language, wouldn't work for me, and it would definitely hinder a lot of countries as well.
Okay, I'm very worried for my country's Q chances in SF1. Where are you from, ESCNL? Oh.
Well, it says NL.
Yeah, no, I got it. I read the question first and then saw the name. Clearly from Moldova.
Moldova's great.
I know, like, I feel bad for the Dutch folks now, even though 2020 was canceled. You were like basically in the finals for like a couple of years in a row, and now you're kind of like, oh, I forgot that we have to do semis again. It's just like, that's right, we got to do that. It's nice to be German. I'm not getting mad because at least you always come last. But yeah, no, I get it. Don't worry about it. I mean, are you worried about the whole singing in Dutch, or you feel actually more excited about it?
Look, the thing is with Dutchies overall is that we're always very pessimistic,
I
and
learned that. I remember Duncan Lawrence. Remember that negativity initially before
oh
his song
yeah,
came
like
out.
exactly, like oh, who is this? Oh, we're not going to qualify. Oh, this will be terrible. The music he makes before this is so damn bad, and then we won Eurovision. And like the same
I
could
know.
happen this time as well. Like the only thing we know is that she is the singer. If you listen to some of the live performances, she's really good vocally. We know it's going to be in Dutch. All we know. Just wait until the song comes on, and then you can really just decide from there. And I really like the approach we're taking now. Like we're going for a song first, and we don't look at artists. Like Armin van Buuren, one of the biggest DJs in the world, was allegedly like denied the like he submitted the song this year, and he was put aside for Esteen. So I wouldn't be worried just yet. Just wait
Is
until
it
the
how you
song
pronounce it?
comes out.
Esdeen?
Esteen. So it's like
Oh.
10 in Dutch is tien, and you say
Okay.
the S. Her real name is Steen.
Steen.
So
Okay.
yeah.
Well, I
But you
want to
pronounce it
learn
as.
how to pronounce it. I learned that Steen.
Yeah.
All right. Well, that's all the time we have for today. Thank you, everyone, for joining us. Thank you, Roy, for your very good insight here and keeping me up
Always
to
a
date with
pleasure.
all the stuff that's happening because I'm far behind. We'll be back, of course, shortly and for the next Mattitude. And until then, talk to y'all later.